This is my friend Connie. She has made a fantastic video essay about the new weird girl trend in pop culture, and I really urge you to watch it. It's brilliant. I've always been a very unusual and unconventional girl. I've grown up in Italy, which is a very conservative country, and my experience of growing up there as someone who was unconventional has not been the easiest one, to say the least. I wasn't aware of the fact that it was an actual trendy movement of being a weird girl now, because I don't think I've ever experienced being me as being trendy before. When I look back at my teenage years, I often say to my friends that if I had been a normal person, probably I would have bullied myself too. Since I was in primary school, which is from where I can kind of remember, I have studied other people so that I could behave the same way and I could therefore be accepted as a normal person. One of the things that really struck me from what Connie said was how she understood that if she could be conventionally attractive, her weirdness would have perceived as something quirky and kind of cute. And I don't think I've ever, as myself, perceived myself as someone who is conventionally attractive. But I remember that to be one of the many catalysts of my eating disorder, because I suddenly realized as I was losing weight and I was looking more conventionally attractive, people were less concerned about my weirdness, and I wasn't getting considered as weird anymore. What I'm trying to say is that I quickly became aware of what pretty privilege was very early on, subconsciously, and it is still very much a thing nowadays. Pretty privilege will dictate how people sometimes will see and perceive you and how you present yourself. That is a given. I've been told many times in my life that I actually come across as someone who is quite confident, which is a sign that maybe I've built up a fairly good persona in that sense, but I'm not someone that I would necessarily consider as confident. I think I've learned in these 30 years how to relate to people, how to connect with people, how to talk to people, but it's something that has never come as a very easy task to me. I remember when we were kids and I would send my younger sister to talk to the other kids first, and then I would join, because I felt like if I was the one to talk to them, first of all, I didn't know how to, and second of all, they wouldn't have liked me. In hindsight, now I'm probably better at talking to random people than she is, but this is all because I've constructed and learned and studied other people so much that now maybe I can do it on a little bit of a better level too. Connie talks explicitly about the feeling of cringe that people feel when someone seems to be particularly enjoying something that they found to be somewhat weird. First of all, that is such a weird feeling, because why can't you just let people enjoy what they enjoy? And I say this now as a 30-year-old woman who has gone through extensively many years of being considered weird and bullied for what or how I enjoyed things. I'm someone who has paraded my life online and what I enjoy and what I do since I was probably 14. So it's been more than half of my life. So I am very aware of what it means to have people seeing who you are and what you like and how you behave. Which is probably one of the reasons why I did it, because online I found other people that were more of my wavelength, and therefore I could relate to them more and I felt less weird. I think as part of a traumatic response to what I've experienced in my life, still to this day, whenever I'm posting something that has to do with my passions and my weird likings and whatever I enjoy in my life, I experience this sort of like anxiety backlash of thinking everyone thinks I'm weird and are making fun of me behind my back, because I'm very aware that a lot of the people who follow me nowadays are also my colleagues, are people that are not necessarily tied to those environments where I am expressing myself and the topics that I'm expressing myself about. And as Connie has mentioned in her video, if this is a trend, there's part of me that is extremely scared of when that trend is going to go away, and terrified that people are just thinking you're following a trend when maybe for the first time you're just trying to be yourself. It has partly been extremely cathartic for me to watch Connie's videos and listen to her experience of this and realize how much similarities it holds true to my experience. It really baffles me because it speaks volume in terms of showing how much we still haven't learned to let people enjoy their things and be themselves. Yes, I wasn't conventional in my growing up. Yes, the things I was doing were probably extremely weird in this context of especially school years where you're trying to find your place and identify something outside of your family group and find your own space and place in society. It's probably the hardest way to experience these kind of thoughts and this kind of bullying. But the fact that so many of us went through that, it's really reassuring because we're all still here, we're all still enjoying things. It isn't a trend. It isn't something that we're doing for clout, for views, or for whatever reason people might think it is. I wonder whether the rise of this weird girl online is some form of movement that, as Connie said, has to do with the hyper-feminist movements that have taken over all over the world, like the 4B movement in Asia, and the way in which people are trying to slowly separate themselves from the conventional role of women in society and conventional standards of femininity, to which I have never fit in and desperately tried to fit in, and it was just never meant for me. Moral of the story is that there's a lot of people like us out there and we've all suffered in very different ways, but at the same time also have really similar experiences. And I think there's something cathartic about that. There's something good about how's going on about our lives and having careers and doing things and still being able to do these things for us. Good thing is, despite all of the years of trying to figure out who I am and where I fit and who I want to be and what is all this, is that eventually I am now enjoying the things I like and maybe being cringe on the internet. But I don't think I care even remotely as much as I did when I was younger. And that has allowed me to be myself more and to enjoy myself a lot better. Yes, if you want to know more about the entire concept of the weird girl online on and nowadays pop culture, definitely watch Connie's video. It's very enlightening, and this was just some sort of like a rant of things that I thought while I was watching the video, and I thought it'd be easy to put them on words like this.